Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we are talking all about an issue you may be having, and that's that your house is boring. Are your friends inviting you over to their home, but they don't want to visit yours? Does your sister-in-law always offer to host the holidays at her place, but not at your house? Did you just buy a new house and it maybe needs a little character and personality? This video is for you. We're talking all about how to take your boring home and make it interesting and make it cool, make it personal, and make it look like someone actually lives there. The first thing you can do, the easiest thing in my opinion, and something I love to do to a space that instantly changes it, is change out the hardware or add new hardware. That is the jewelry of the space, okay? The metal details on your doors, your cabinetry. This even extends to like light fixtures, faucets, and plumbing fixtures in bathrooms and kitchens, because it really does have that standout, that pop, that aha moment, especially if your kitchen is a little bit more muted in its color scheme. If you've got a white kitchen with silver hardware, well, those are both kind of cool tone things. Like, you're really not getting that contrast, that pop in the space. So maybe switch it out to black or gold toned hardware to really add some interest. If you have black cabinetry, gold will stand out and pop, so will silver. But at the same time, you might want to do something that's a little more rustic, like iron hardware or details in a white kitchen, or a cream, a beige, and ivory toned kitchen. That's really cool too. Look out for something that will stand out and pop to make your space a little bit more interesting, to add the visual appeal, honey. The jewelry in the space is what makes it. So look out for new hardware. What can you add? And there are plenty of places to do that. You know, cabinetry hardware, of course, door hardware. What are your window treatments? What's happening with that? What color are the lamps in the space, the metal details and accents on your furniture pieces? Also, you know, what's going on with your light fixtures and those plumbing fixtures, like we said before. All of that is the hardware in the space, and you can really create something that's interesting, that's cool, that refreshes an entire space. Like, you don't have to gut your kitchen. You can just change the hardware on it. And that's actually very renter friendly as well. If you find hardware that has the same whole spacing as what you originally have, oh, I love that fantasy for me and for you and for everyone. Make your space not boring by changing out the hardware. Now, no matter what is going on in your home, if you think it's boring and if you don't think it's boring, if you're taking on an entire kitchen renovation or you're just looking to figure out what kind of hardware you want in that space, I am at your service. You can always book a one-on-one consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. Now, adding new hardware or changing it out is not the biggest deal in the world, okay? Hardware is expensive, but you can always change it back or redo it, whatever. Painting definitely is a bit more difficult and time-consuming. It could go wrong very quickly and look bad, but it's a good way to add interest to your space. I love painting a space. I love color drenching. I like a bold and vibrant color. I like something subtle and more muted, but maybe not every room in your house has to be a different color or a very vibrant one. This space in my home, we've decided to paint it this creamy, soft white tone, and I absolutely adore it. The color details will be in the description box down below. But I want to add character and interest to this space. So I contrast this creamy white tone with a bright, fresh white to create a little bit of layering and visual interest, but I also add vibrant artwork to make it stand out and pop. So yes, this is a white room, okay? That could be very boring. Obviously, any room I'm in is not going to be boring, but that's just because I'm me, but also not the point of this video. Artwork stands out. It creates interest. And if you are renting and you cannot paint your walls, or you just don't want to, adding a cool piece of artwork can easily do that for you. Find a vintage poster, find a cool art print, go to a thrift store, or go to an art fair, go to an art school and get a piece of artwork that's really cool, interesting, and says what you want it to say. And just so we're clear, making your home not boring doesn't involve you putting a beige piece of artwork on your white walls. You can add some fun, interest, and depth, even going with neutrals. So be on the lookout for what can you add that's going to create some of that depth and character in your home. So it's not boring, even if the walls are all white. We love an all white space. Some of the most talented, incredible, amazing, and famous designers only use white in homes. They paint every room white, and their spaces end up looking beautiful and interesting. White can be very interesting, but it can also be boring if you're not using it correctly. So be careful what you're doing with all white paint. Look to add some color, whether that is painting the walls or painting the trim. Oh, I absolutely love that. Or even if it's just adding a piece of artwork. And I always say, finding inspiration is the best source, is the best resource you can have when it comes to design. So you know what you're looking at and it helps you visualize. So go online and look at beautiful all white spaces and what people have done with them to get inspiration for yours. Maybe you don't need to paint, maybe you don't need artwork, and maybe the hardware on your cabinetry is great and you're like, you know what, I'm just bored here. Something has to change, something's different, what's going on? Try a new layout. Rearrange your furniture and see how it works and how it will function differently in that space, because you might end up realizing, oh, you know what, this is so interesting, it's cool, I'm gonna keep it like this for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or a year or 6 years, whatever, okay? Changing out your layout and just mixing it up costs you nothing, okay? You're not getting rid of stuff, you're not buying anything new, you're just moving what you have in different areas, and it creates a space that instantly feels different. You could even go as far as to switch the usage of rooms. Take the living room and make it the dining room, and make the dining room the living room. See if that works for you in your home. Or say, hey, you know what? Let's put the dining room furniture into that spare bedroom and make this the office. Something like that could easily transform your home and make it feel so interesting and different if you think it feels a little bit boring. Or if everybody's just seen the same thing over and over again, you're like, you know what? Let's mix it up. I'm not kidding you. Changing the layout can work wonders. You can also take other pieces, accessories, and decor from other rooms and swap them out. Bring the rug from in there into here, and you don't have to change the layout, but now you have a completely different feel. I actually have a ton of great videos all about changing the layouts of your home. I'm gonna link my living room layouts video right up here in the cards and in the description box down below. Be sure you check that out to figure out what sort of living room layout you have and what the possibilities are. Sometimes when it comes to your home, it's not about any big thing, okay? You know, like we said, changing hardware, painting, all of that, even rearranging your layouts, that requires a little bit of work, okay? So, you know, like, you gotta be prepared for it. But what doesn't require a ton of work and is just about refreshing something is bedding, is your duvet cover, is the towels in your bathrooms. You can add so much interest into your home and make it not feel like boring, like, okay, like the neighbor's house is like boring and but my house is cool because I have really great bedding, because I have really wonderful towels in the bathrooms. You can add color, you can add a pop. Also, these are things you can swap out at different times of the year. Maybe you go for a spring feeling with the towels in your bathroom right now, in your guest bathroom, your powder bathroom, so that your guests are like, oh, this is so cool. And then you do the same thing for the duvet cover and the sheets in your bedroom. I like to have things monogrammed, okay? Like, you know, I'm gonna have our last name or our initials put on towels or something like that in a guest bathroom, because it's like, you know, this is the Chateau Le Chic. Oh, love that. For me, you can do something like that. Get your last initial embroidered on a towel and put that in the bathroom. That's really cool too. And it's also an interesting way to add a detail, a personal trait into the space and make it feel like, oh, we know where we are. We know who this person is. They're so proud. This bathroom, this house is so beautiful, blah, 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 whatever. That's really cool. And having a towel embroidered is not expensive. It doesn't take a ton of time. You can order it online. As a matter of fact, I like going on Etsy and finding all sorts of different cool shops that offer all sorts of different monogramming for that matter. So you can find something really interesting and cool out there to add a personal moment into any space in your home. And you can support a small business, which you know I also love. Now you've made it this far in the video, and I know you are loving what you are hearing, because I am always 100% accurate and correct. And no, I will not be taking any criticism or critiques on that fact, but you made it this far. Don't be fake, hit the subscribe button, join us, become a part of the LeChic family, and I would also greatly appreciate it if you'd give this video a like. One of the biggest design mistakes I see, and one of the easiest ways to make your home not feel boring, is with lighting. Great lighting in a space always makes it look and feel more welcoming, warmer, more comfortable, more inviting. Even if you're that person that's like, you know what, I want everything to be white, I want everything to be gray, and it's like a cooler tone space, having the correct lighting, oh, could make it feel so gorgeous, beautiful, and inviting. I always say, have 3 alternative sources of lighting. You have daylight, okay, honey, I look good in it, let's be real. But you can also have 3 other sources in your space outside of just your overhead. So that's like the natural lighting source right there. give me 3 lamps. Give me a lamp, a floor lamp, and a wall sconce. Give me 3 alternative sources. And I would also go as far as to say, I try and put a lamp in every corner or at least on each side of the room so that we have a balanced lighting scheme in a space, because I want that warmth. I also always go for like a 2700 Kelvin bulb because I want that warmth. I think that makes a space look beautiful and inviting and welcoming. And if you have a darker space, a moodier space, or something that just doesn't get good natural lighting, having that extra lighting there instantly is going to make it feel so much more welcoming and more inviting and just cozier during the day as well as at night. Lighting is key, it's essential, but also the type of light fixtures you have in your home. I always recommend, upgrading to like an energy efficient bulb, and I think that's cool, but what does the lighting in your home say? Is it giving like, oh, a builder grade set from the early 2000s? Is it giving a mismatched, like thrift store kind of a vibe? What does it say? So I always like to look for light fixtures that have a similar thread that connects them all. For example, in my living room, I have a crystal chandelier, and I love it because of the glamour and the size of it. It's big and it gives off too much light, so I have it on a dimmer switch, of course, but what I also do is I have a crystal lamp, a gorgeous Lalique lamp on my console table that I use as well. The crystal relates and ties back to it, and that's wonderful. Definitely check in with, the rental community you live in or with your landlord to see if they're okay with that. And once again, have an electrician do it so you know your bases are covered, but that's a really good way to add interest to a space and to make it not feel boring. You can get a statement light fixture and have a really boring room and have that be like the aha standout moment, and it can make the world of difference. Another easy way to make your home not feel boring is to do something interesting with your window treatments. I like to add a softness to a space with window treatments. I like drapes, I like curtains, I love a Roman blind, I love a wood feature or detail. I think that's so cool. So when you are moving into a space, you're looking at your space, you're looking at a new home, you're looking at a rental, whatever, really look at the window treatments and say, what are they doing here? What message are they sending? And go about upgrading them appropriately. I like window treatments, I like drapes to be hung floor to ceiling. I like them to be really tall and enhance a space. And I like thick, substantial hardware on them. And when it comes to a window treatment, I think 90% of the time when you're having difficulty with your windows and you're like, I don't know what to do, like what kind of windows treatment should I do here? The answer is a Roman blind. Okay, it's as simple as that. Some people will call it a Roman shade, some people will call it a Roman blind. It depends on what mood I'm in, whether I call it whatever. The terms are kind of used universally at this point. It's essentially a fabric window treatment that can go inside of a window frame or outside of it on the wall, and that just depends on what you're trying to do with scale and layering. And it's a fabric window treatment, so you can choose what fabric, something that matches your space, something that contrasts. You can find a really cool designer fabric to do this in. You can also get faux Roman blinds that are also really great. We do faux Roman blinds usually when it's like a really expensive designer fabric, because like I'm not buying like 5 yards of a fabric that costs like $200. Like that's insane. So we'll do like a faux option and then maybe like a solar blind behind that you actually use. But these are really great in a home and they add so much detail and interest. There's some really great options linked in my Amazon storefront in the description box down below, but there are bamboo style options that I really like. Sometimes you need an extra wood tone in a space or just that little rustic feature or moment, especially if you live in like a coastal area. That always says coastal to me without it being like, starfish decor or whatever. But I think that's really cool. And sometimes that's exactly what your space needs. I love a Roman blind. I think they never make a space look boring. They're always interesting because they add a softness and a fabric detail into that space. And I also think it's pretty cool that you can just kind of like vacuum them and they look fresh, they look clean, whatever. They're not as difficult to clean as a regular blind is, and I think that's wonderful. Something else you can do that I love and I think makes a home look really good and not boring is adding in some sort of focal point or focal feature. There's a couple of ways you can do this. If you don't have a natural focal point, you can make one by using symmetry. Like, you have 2 sofas across from each other, that middle point there is naturally going to be a focal point. So add like a giant piece of artwork, an oversized mirror, a big cabinet or something like that. But what I love the most, and I see all of the time relatively affordable on, like Facebook Marketplace or whatever, is a mantle. You can get a real mantle and make it a faux mantle by just setting it on the wall. You can attach it, secure it, especially if you're doing like a stone mantle or something like that. You know, you don't want that sort of thing falling down. And then get a insert for it or a faux cover for it. And there you go. You have a fireplace. Nobody's going to sit there and be like, oh, is it real? Is it not? Put a screen in front of it, honey. Get some fireplace tools and nobody knows the difference. I love that. Adding in a faux fireplace instantly adds a sense of scale, of glamour, of grandeur into a home. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really great to add into a space. You can do so much with a faux fireplace mantle, or there are also, you know, like heaters that look like fireplaces. You can get electric fireplaces that, you know, they look really good. Like what's happening with technology today is wonderful. So I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're living in a mobile home. I don't care if you're in an apartment. I don't care if you're in an ultra modern contemporary building that doesn't have a fireplace. I don't care if you live in Las Vegas and you don't need a fireplace, okay? You can do this, you can add it, and it can look so good, so cool, add so much interest into your home. And if you're renting, it's not real, it's not attached, like it's your mantle. You put it there. Just take it with you when you go and set it up in the next place. That is an excellent, excellent idea to make your home not feel boring and to actually make it feel really interesting and cool, like you've got some great details built into it, even if you don't. Something else you can do that will instantly make your home feel new and fresh and not boring is to declutter and restyle. You've already got a bunch of stuff, okay? You have accessories, you have decor, you have throw pillows, you have all of this stuff. Take every bit of it out of a room and then say, okay, what can we do? What can we do? Where can it go? What new piece can I bring in here? What's in there? Let me swap these lamps or whatever. Restyle your space with what you already have. It's going to make it feel interesting and different and new and fresh without you having to buy a ton of stuff that you don't need to buy because you already have it. Restyling your home with the things you already have is going to make it feel refreshed, revitalized, rejuvenated, and I think that's really fantastic to work with what you have. And then you can kind of see like, okay, maybe I need to replace this, maybe I need to redo that, or, oh, you know, I'm tired of this, let me get a new piece, let me replace that, let me sell this on Facebook Marketplace. Oh, love that fantasy for me because I'm gonna go snap it up if it's worth having, darling. But restyling your home with what you already have is great. Now you may be saying, well, Garrett, after watching this video, I've realized my house doesn't look boring, it just looks cheap. Well, be sure you check out this video right over here, all about why your house looks cheap and how to fix it. And I will see you over there.